Now that I've actually watched more of this, the series Testament, the story of Moses, now that I've watched more of it, I feel like I'm really it's really kind of pissing me off all these interviews that they keep having within it. So they're having quite a good, I think they've got quite good scenes actually of the story. But they keep having, intervene. They keep getting intervened by believers of Moses and people who think that Moses was a good guy and a man of God and believe that God was generally talking. It was kind of annoying, and I was thinking it would be better without it. But I think without it, it's kind of proof that this story is all just fictional. But I think with this interpretation, I actually like it because I feel like if I was to do it, I might actually even want to take these scenes and all the things that these other people are saying, give their view, and then go to my view where I sort of give a take on their view. So when they watch a scene and then they have the Christians or the Islamic people talking about their view on it, I would love to just add my scene and say that I am God. I didn't call these people. This is not what I said. I did not say these things. I do not believe this about these people. This guy would welcome anyone in his home. Later he does actually welcome the Pharaoh in his home, and he has a sort of, he's friendly to him. He asks Moses to bow down and stuff. He's being polite. He's treating him, the Pharaoh, in the same way that he treated Moses. Therefore, it's not evidence that he's a good judge of character or anything. But I feel like I would like actually to have these commentaries on it, because then I can comment not just on the Moses and his stories himself, but on the commentary of people. I don't understand why anyone would believe that these stories are true. And I also don't understand why everyone's being so biased towards this. Moses said God said this, therefore it's the truth. I mean, it's just like, no, just because Moses said God said this, that doesn't mean that it's the truth. And I think if I was to do a documentary of Moses, it might actually, I'd have to be in hiding because a lot of people would probably want me dead for it, because there's a lot of people that support Moses and they're bad people. Moses was a murderer, and he killed someone who was attacking someone very severely, but still, I feel like that you shouldn't preach that it's fine to just kill someone who's beaten up someone, and you don't really know the extent of it and stuff. But yeah, I'll just show a little bit. So he's just left his wife and 2 children. He's left his wife and 2 children because he's heard a voice saying that he needs to go back and save the Israelites. So he's abandoned his family, which is not...
I think God calls us in a variety of ways. Sometimes our call is the result of struggle, but sometimes our call is a rejection of the comfort and the convenience we have so come to enjoy.
I think he is... Because I want to make comments on him. I mean, he just said, God has called us. Well, how do you know God? I'd like to correct him, basically. I don't just want to correct the Moses character, but I'd like to correct the people who would listen to this and say stuff. I didn't call Moses. I don't think he's a real character. But I didn't... How do you know that God called him? I didn't. That's not true.
And I think that's what Moses represents.
Well, I don't, and I'm God.
Moses was deeply flawed and extraordinarily resilient. He
So it's like
conflicted about his identity.
deeply flawed and very resilient. So it's like he's admitting that Moses was not a good character, and yet still trying to show support towards him by saying very resilient. Well, if he's deeply flawed and very resilient, why would you trust anything this man would say? I would like to question the people who believe in Moses and be respectful. I guess I have to be respectful. But yeah, why would you say he's deeply flawed and yet believe that what he's saying is the truth?
Moses was deeply flawed and extraordinarily resilient. He was conflicted about his identity. He was an adopted child.
he's conflicted about his. He might not even know who his parents are. If he was found in a basket, I mean, he probably would be very confused if that story was true.
He was a person with a criminal record. He was homeless for part of his life, and his failures teach us as much as his achievements.
His failures teach us as much as his achievements. No, his failures teach us that he's probably doesn't have a clue what he's doing. He's just a normal man.
Calls who he wants to call.
I didn't call him.
In fact, I can't think of a single person in the Bible outside of Jesus that doesn't have a glaring character flaw or impediment in some way, shape, or form that is like, really? But God just specializes in that.
Why would I help someone that's so character flawed? Where's this clicker? Clicker's gone.
God of Scripture is a God who specializes in taking broken things and not just fixing them, but repurposing them for something even greater.
So what? I've taken some flawed, broken guy and made him leave his wife, and you don't know what you're talking about. You know, if you watch this and think that this is a true story, he's a murderer. He's been living in the desert for a very long time. He's just had kids with someone and run off, leaving his wife and children behind. He's a deeply flawed man, an individual, someone who doesn't know who his family or identity is, someone who's been brought up in foster care, basically. Why would you then start believing that God has that what he said about there being a fire and God talking through this burning bush? You know, if he's a deeply flawed individual, why would you believe anything that this deeply flawed individual would say? You know, it's like going into a prison and finding a murderer who's in there for multiple crimes and him saying, oh yeah, God told me this, and then you be like, okay, yeah, we'll just believe it because I know you're a deeply flawed individual, but God uses people like this to show miracles through.
Take off your shoes. Who are you? This is holy ground, Moses. Take off your shoes.
Why would I tell him to take off his shoes? That makes absolutely no sense.
Do as I say.
Can you really imagine me? Take off your shoes. Why?
I am what I am. And what
I am what I am. I am.
Isaac and Jacob.
I am not the God of Abraham and all these people.
The God of everything.
I am the God of everything, not
And
this.
you are what you are. And what you would be.
A liar.
My messenger.
No, he's not my messenger.
The Hebrew Bible makes a fundamental point that human beings cannot see God. They cannot be in the physical presence of God. There is one great exception. The exception is Moses.
Yeah, out of everyone, God chose to choose Moses, this deeply flawed individual who's just murdered someone and run away from his wife and kids, and now is obviously having delusions up in a mountain because he's a homeless person who doesn't know where to go and doesn't know his family is, and yeah, I would choose out of everyone in the world that I could have shown myself to. I showed it to him through a burning. I feel like I can't insult this story because it's obviously not true. I feel like insulting this story is insulting mentally ill people. So I feel like it'd be better to not insult the story because the story is obviously not true, but to insult the people that are analysing it. You know, why would this be the only person that I would reveal myself to? I didn't reveal myself to this person. It was silly.
You are truly God. I am what I am, and what I will be.
You have a bush that is burning but not consumed. A Jewish philosopher named Philo, who lived around the time of Christ, reads this allegorically. He says it's symbolic of Israel's enslavement, which is they're burned but they're not consumed. They're still surviving.
This is me. I am Israel, and I am feeling burnt by these liars that are just lying about me, and I feel like I'm spiritually giving off so much, and people are just believing in shit because it's stupid. And you've got all these people coming on documentaries like this, acting like they're intelligent and acting like they know what the truth is and acting like this is the truth when it's... I'm not getting annoyed by the story. I'm getting annoyed by this commentary of people saying that this is the truth when it's not the truth.
I have watched you for years, Moses.
Bullshit.
Seeking, questioning, and I have brought you here to reveal your purpose. You will return to Egypt. You will persuade the Hebrews to follow you. And in my name, you will demand their freedom from Pharaoh.
Pharaoh would never free the Hebrews.
He will resist.
If this was just watching something like the Hercules film or just some sort of fictional film, I don't think I would even really want to add too many... I can't tell anything... I can't factually prove that this story isn't the truth because it's just obviously not the truth. But yeah, I feel like with the Jesus I can actually teach things because he says things that inspire me to teach things. But I feel like with this is just believing in nonsense.
I will smite him for it.
What have I to do with the Hebrews? I am not a leader or man of words.
Until you find your way, your brother, Aaron, will speak for you.
Your brother?
Go to Egypt. Announce yourself to the Hebrews as my messenger. I will tell you my name, the name I am known by, and they will know that you speak for me.
Moses doesn't know that he's going to be convincing, and God says, okay, don't worry. I'll tell you my name.
Correction, I am God, and I did not tell this for him.
It's Ehyeh Asher Ehyeh. I will be that I will be, or I will become that I will become. What kind of name is that? It's a name.
My name's Anna.
Verb. God is a verb.
I'm not a verb, I'm...
For this task.
Okay, I'm gonna stop this. This is really pissing me off. But the story is obviously ridiculously not true. Obviously not true, and it's how people can watch this and act like it is the truth. That's what winds me up the most.